Hello YouTube! I am Pinstar and this is Pinstar Plays Plan B Terraform. So this game was actually recommended to me by one of my patrons and longtime friends of the channel, Dana Black. And it was only $10, so I picked it up and I do not regret it. So what Plan B Terraform is it's a game where you are on an alien planet, not Mars. I know terraforming Mars is the hot thing these days, but this is not Mars. But still, we need to terraform it from a lifeless rock to a lush green inhabitable environment and get our total population to, I think, 1 million is the end game goal. And all the while building different supply chains. Now, just the act of building supply chains is all well and good, but the game has some things where they change up the formula. They flip the script on you as you get more advanced. So you can't just build something, sit on your laurels, and call it done for the entire game. There's some reworking and rerouting that you need to do as things progress. So you know what? Let's dive into this, shall we? Let's do a new planet. Now, if somebody in the comments can tell me what this is in reference to, I will be delighted. Gamma Lucra is our planet name. You've been mandated to manage the resources of a newly discovered planet. You must bring supplies to the cities and manage terraforming projects. Good luck. Thank you, game. And every time you do a planet, it is procedurally generated. So no two planets are exactly the same. But it does always spawn you with 3, well, seed cities. Right now, this is the city in of itself, this little landing craft. We are going to have to sit through the tutorial. There is no way to disable it. But I'm just going to yada yada through it. And I will be your tutorial for the most part. Now, we do need to, our first setup is going to be on an iron patch, and we need to be mindful of where we set this up. Well, actually not really, because this iron, we don't actually need to transport the goods that we mine and produce here. They kind of go into our pool, so we actually kind of want to, at least for this initial iron mine, find someplace out in the boonies. This is pretty out in the boonies. Right here, this stuff. So I think this will be our first iron patch. So first things first, and this is just giving us an intro to our first supply chain, which is super simple. Things get more complex as the game goes along. So we have a set number of these parts, extractors, factories, depots and whatnot. Now, these are just what we start the game with. We are going to need to make more of these before we can expand any further. So our first supply chain is basically being able to make more of the things we started with. So I'm going to put one right here. Now, obviously, the bigger piles of ore have more iron in them, so they won't deplete as quickly. But these things are pretty cheap to make and pretty easy to move around. So, you know, sipping up from the edges are actually not a bad thing. Now we need a depot. And you need to put it next to whatever you're extracting. I'm going to put the depot here in this empty space so it's not stomping on any minerals. And we'll set it to collect iron ore. As you can see, there's a little rampway saying that this is now attached to this. Now we build a factory next to the depot to make steel. So now it takes the raw iron, turns it into steel, and now it needs to spit it out into steel bars, the output stockpile. And now we need an assembly plant to actually turn that steel into something useful. Let's put you down here and we'll make more extractors out of it. Now, the help screen just gives us a sort of a long term overview of what we're doing here. Again, I will be your tutorial. But yeah, our end goal is to raise the population to 1 million people and to terraform the planet to make it fully habitable. Right now we have 9 people. Each city, quote unquote, has 3 people in it. But as we supply them with things, they will grow. But before we can supply them with things, we gotta supply ourselves with things. There is no money that I've seen in this game. It's all about materials. If you have the stuff to build what you need, you can build it. You don't need to pay somebody. Now, the ratio here, the ratio that we have here is that this thing sucks up 3 iron ore, turns it into 1 steel bar. This thing produces an iron ore every 15. So basically 2 extractors will keep up with 1 of the iron ore ticks of this. Now, unfortunately, we are just shy of a perfect ratio because we can put the rest of these around here, and this is half of an iron bar shy of having a perfect raw material to processing to this ratio. But if we were to try to extend this out further, you can't just put a thing down here and plug it right into the factory. It has to go through a depot. So then we have to put a depot and then one of these here. But now we have one too many, or we just waste the space, and it's just kind of ugly. So I'm gonna stick to the near perfect ratio of 5:1, even though acknowledging that 6:1 is the perfect ratio. Later on, we'll have more tools to utilize things from further away from these depots. But for now, that's what we got to do. And so basically what I'm going to be doing is making little clusters of these independent of each other. So this whole production line is going to do nothing but give us more extractors. And we need to put down a total of 10 extractors. So yeah, we have a little drone here that, when these things produce the raw material, it'll put it on the pad, and then this will also deliver it to the factory. Factory churns and burns, spits out the steel, and then the steel gets plugged in here. 3 steel equals 1 more extractor. Now, the nice thing, and this is why I said we can put this out in the boonies, is that when this steel extractor, this extractor is created, it just goes into the pool. We don't need to ship it anywhere. It just sort of magically teleports to our useful area here. So that's why I said this particular portion doesn't need to be near cities. Others later on do. All right, I am going to do a little bit of stomping here while still trying to utilize the... I hate to stomp on this, but I think we have to. Yeah, all right, so we're going to stomp on this. It doesn't actually destroy the minerals underneath, but, obviously this pad by itself doesn't do any extracting. So we'll start harvesting up some of these here while we wait for our extra extractors. I mean, I guess we could... Yeah, no, we'll just start harvesting it. Just getting a little stockpile ready to go as these minerals come in. I'm going to speed things up just a little bit since we are just waiting for materials to come in. There's no time limit, although I'm sure, someone who may want to try to optimize this will rate themselves to see how quickly they can get to 1 million people. All right, so now we've unlocked some new stuff, new formulas, mechanical parts. We can now actually build more factories and more assembly plants. So here, we're going to turn you into steel, but now we're going to go a little step further. We're going to output the steel, but now we get another factory and turns the steels into mechanical parts, and then another one of these to deposit the mechanical parts. And then lastly, an assembly plant to make more factories. That's why I was waiting for all of these. And then we can always turn this production into more assembly plants while we wait. Oh yeah, this thing, once this is done making its extractor, I'm going to flip it over to a depot, just because we need one more of those to make another cluster work properly. And if you switch it mid-thing, it discards its production. So I wanted to, for wanted that to finish itself first. Okay, so we do need another sort of a baseline one here. So we're going to, yeah, this will be a good one right here. Actually, we could just sort of dump out. We can dump out multiple things and just reuse the same pad, actually. This kind of works in our favor. Yeah, might as well. So if we do an iron harvester right here, or an iron ore thing, and we put a factory here, we've already got a destination for the steel, and then we just put 2 extractors here. Yeah, all right, I like it. So we don't actually need this extra depot, because we're reusing this depot, but we might as well let it create itself. We will have use for them. Put you back to extractors. And we got our factory. So we steel bar that. Once this extra factory is done, we'll switch it back to assembly plants so that we can make another assembly plant and basically just do double duty from extractors and depots here. Or just 2 extractors if we're feeling saucy. But yeah, we definitely need more extractors here. Actually, I might do double duty on extractors just so that we're getting this portion going a little bit faster. And actually, what I'll probably do is get another one more depot produced and then flip it over to double extractor production. There we go. There's our assembly plant. Yeah, you make me a depot here. It'll basically split the steel between these 2. All right, we're getting this on. Do I want to flip it back to factories? I kind of do. Yeah, let's flip it back to factories, because we'll make another node where it's producing assembly plants by itself. Yeah, let's keep saturating this one. And yeah, we'll need 2, maybe 3 depots to get the last one. Yeah, because we need iron, steel, mechanical parts. So 3 depots. There's our second depot. Excellent. Speed you up a little bit. There we go. All right, we have saturated this steel area. And yeah, placing our 5th factory with 1 more saturation here will be what we need. Okay, we've got all of our depots for the moment. Let's let this last depot make itself. And then I'll switch it to double-barreled extractor production, because we need a lot more extractors than we need depots. There we go. Double extractor. All right, I think, yeah, this right here, probably our best bet. Or actually, we could do like this. That might actually work a little better. So we iron ore here. Then we turn on a factory to make us some steel bars. And yes, all right, now we've gotten concrete roads, trucks, supply centers. This is how we actually start feeding the population in each of the cities. I still want to finish up here before we start diving into that, but good to know that we have this now. So that's going to be output to steel. Steel gets turned to mechanical parts. This holds mechanical parts. And then lastly, we assemble, assembly plants. And then we just got to saturate this, and then we can move on to our next thing, and we will be producing pretty much one of everything. What I'll probably do is actually throw down a 3rd assembly plant here, have 2 of these on this, and then one on the depots. It's going to be stretching the steel a little thin, but that might just help our ratios out a little bit. Because, I mean, we got the space for it. Speed you guys up a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be a little while before we get our... All right, this is fully saturated. So this will start turning all this into assembly plants. We could also just, I don't know, like... Even without extra steel here, we could just flip this over to assembly plants. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to flip this over to assembly plants. I know we have assembly plants. Well, let's let this one finish its assembly plant. And then we're actually going to transform it into depots, and then it'll just draw straight from the steel. That's why I built this next to the steel, so that we could go and just do the lower tech, you know, draw straight from the steel. Now this is going to start building up some mechanical parts because it's going to split the steel between this and this. But we don't need as many depots. Okay, now let's find a place for concrete. And this is, now we actually do have to be cognizant of our cities here. These little concrete patches are going to be important. Now normally you'd only have to do one according to the mission, but I'm going to do all three, just one at a time. So our next building here is going to be turning sulfur into concrete. Same idea here, but with an extra added step. Now, actually, first things first, we need to find a patch of sulfur that's out in the boonies, much like with our iron, because we are going to be manufacturing some things that don't need to be transported anywhere. Ooh, this little bit tucked right into the mountains. This is some lovely boonies sulfur. Yeah, perfect. All right, so we've got our boonies sulfur. We'll start you here. We need a factory. Turn you into concrete. And now, yeah, we are going to need some more support buildings. We do need more of these, and we do need more of the assemblers. That's okay. All right, we just got one, so looking good, looking good. All right, so this houses concrete. And then I think, yeah, this, we need an assembler to turn the concrete into, first off, supply centers, and then we can flip it over to roads. The supply centers, we need exactly three of them, at least at the moment. And we are going to need a lot of roads, so I'm going to actually set up 2 of these boonies works here. But eventually they'll just be double-barreled road production. We gotta wait for that next depot to spawn itself. There it is. Excellent. See, this is why we want constant production of all of the things. Sulfur. And then factory. Turn you into concrete. And then once we get a couple more extractors, a couple more depots, we'll be golden. We also may also want to get another production line going specifically for trucks. All right, we got our first supply center. Like I said, we only need 3 of those, at least at the moment. Oop. let's go back to our iron section here, because I think we don't need we don't need more assembly plants. Let's go back to factories. You're still cooking. I think we're gonna make another one that is dedicated to depots and turn this one into trucks. I'm actually not liking this split thing, because we're bleeding off some of our production here. Granted, as soon as we turn it into trucks, which uses mechanical parts, then that's not so bad. We'll use up this building up supply here. And it also is not doing a 50-50 mix here. It's siphoning off more than its fair share of. Yeah, there it goes. All right. I was about to say, just give me one more depot, please. Okay, you are going to go to trucks, and that's going to start using that up. And you are going to be depots for now. Okay, we got one more extractor here. This is starting to build up. Concrete. And you're going to make roads for me. And this one just spit out one. Is that is 3, so we can switch you to roads as well. Perfect timing. Okay. So we've got our roads, we've got our trucks. What we need is a steady supply of depots. And then we can start spamming out more of these. But yeah, we definitely need one more of these specifically for depots. I'm okay using this to just sort of split 50-50. In fact, we could just do a split 50-50, although, again, I don't trust it to divide it evenly between the two. So I'll just flip back and forth as I need them. For now, factories are going to be what we need more of anyway. All right, we got our depot. Let's see here. 1, 2. Yeah, that works. Iron ore. Turn you to steel. Then we need one more depot to get that into there, and then we'll be good. And then we can turn this back into. Because I don't mind it if they're how they split them, you know, if they're both making the same thing, and we do need more extractors. All right, there's our depot. Steel bar, assembly plant, depots. And now that you just produced, you can go back to extractors. And we plug in our last extractor. All right, we are good on this front. Excellent. Now we're ready to go. Well, we're not ready right now. We need to wait for our stuff to build up, but we're getting stuff in good ratios here. We're getting our factories, we're getting roads, we're getting our supplies going on in here. So let's find a sulfur patch. Let's go for low-hanging fruit first. New Shenyang here has a decently close patch. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this down, the supply center. How do you get, yeah. And it has to touch. This is how we get goods into it. Let's speed you up. There we go. Okay. So step 1 is to harvest some sulfur. And same idea here. We'll get a factory to spit out concrete. But instead of manufacturing the concrete itself, if we look at the depot, we can see right now the city wants concrete delivered to it. It just wants just plain concrete, no finished goods. But we actually have to bring it to the city. This is our first instance where we can't just teleport stuff into it. We actually have to deliver it, the logistics. That's why we're building roads, and that's why we're building trucks. All right, let's let this do its thing. Get a couple more of these going. All right, this becomes a concrete stockpile, but now instead of laying down an assembly plant or another factory, now we lay down our roads. We just put one, as long as it's right next to there. Oh yeah, wait, actually, before we do that, we need one more depot to basically act as a receiver, and then that depot will drop the goods off in there. It threw me for a loop the first time I was going through this, where like I was delivering it to here, but you needed the depot to actually make that last step. So this is going to receive concrete. There we go. There's our road, nice and straight. And now we take a truck and then we draw our route. In an early version of the game, you needed to build specific like truck stops, but now they'll build themselves at the end of each route. And we're going to tell it to transport concrete. And now we can see how many trucks do we want on this line. Now this we know can demand 10, so we need at least enough trucks to supply the 10. And we know this is going to put out more than enough product. And then as the city grows, it's going to demand more, and then we can increase the number of trucks. So yeah, the little drone puts it on the trucks go about their merry way, and then when they deliver it off here, grabs it, puts it in there, and now the city starts consuming the goods. And as it gets more and more of the goods that it's looking for, it'll soon go to green, a fully supplied city. There we go. It's in the good. And that means once it's fully supplied, it's going to grow. It's going to start gaining population. And it's also going to start physically growing. This little one tile city center thing is just the seed of it. It will start spreading out and growing more and more doodads as you go along. All right, so I think what we're going to do is off camera, I'm going to set this same setup up for the other two cities. And then we will proceed to our next. See, yeah, we got our next population. And once we've moved to the next segment here, population of 10 in our biggest city, then we're ready to go. So if you guys like this episode and you want to see more like it, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a comment. Good, bad, or indifferent, your feedback's always welcome. So until next time, it's been Pinstar signing out. See ya!